The Biology of Belief by Bruce H. Lipton is an absolute must read if you want to know from a scientific point that your lifestyle is in control of your health rather than your genetics. This book is about mind body medicine and the role stress plays in disease. There is no doubt that human beings have a great capacity for sticking to false belief with great passion. I was excited by new realization that I could change the character of my life by changing the belief. It is not gene directed hormones and neurotransmitters that control our bodies and our minds. Our belief control our bodies, our minds, and thus our lives. Oh yes, a little belief. Positive thoughts have a profound effect on behavior and genes, but only when they are in harmony with subconscious programming. And negative thoughts have an equally powerful effect. When we recognize how these positive and negative beliefs control our biology, we can use this knowledge to create lives filled with health and happiness. As parents, we need to understand the role we play in programming our child's belief and the impact those beliefs have on our children's life. Single gene disorders affect less than 2% of the population. The vast majority of people came into this world with genes that should enable them to live a happy and healthy life. DNA does not control biology, and the nucleus itself is not the brain of the cell. Just like you and me, cells are shaped by where they live. In other words, it is the environment. I had to conclude that the cell's operation are primarily molded by the interaction with the environment, not by genetics code. We have the ability to edit the data we enter into our biocomputers, just as surely as I can choose the words I type. When we understand this, we control our belief. That is why when I took the first step toward changing my life, I actively monitored where I was expending my brain's energy. I had to examine the consequence of energy I invested in my thought as closely as I examined the expenditures of energy I used to power my physical body. You need more than just positive thinking to harness control of your body and your life. It is important for our health and well-being to shift our mind's energy toward positive, life-generating thoughts and eliminate ever-presenting energy-draining and negative thoughts. When it comes to sheer neurological processing abilities, the subconscious mind is millions of times more powerful than the conscious mind. The placebo effect should be a major topic of study in medical school. A Baylor School of Medicine study published in 2002 in New England Journal of Medicine evaluated surgery for patients with severe knee pain. There were three groups, one with surgery and other two with the placebo effect. The results were shocking. Yes, the groups who received surgery as expected improved, but the placebo group improved just as much as the other group, despite the fact there are 650,000 surgery yearly for knees at a cost of about $5,000 each. The results were clear. My skills as a surgeon had no benefit on these patients. The entire benefit of surgery of the knee was the placebo effect. Footage showed members of the placebo group walking and playing basketball. In short, doing things they reported they could not do before their surgery. The placebo patients did not find out for 2 years that they had gotten fake surgery. In this world, anything is possible when you put your mind to it. I know that your mind can work miracles. While many in the medical profession are aware of the placebo effect, few have considered its implication for self-healing. If positive thinking can pull you out of depression and heal a damaged knee, consider what negative thinking can do in your life. When the mind through positive suggestion improve health, it is referred to as the placebo effect. Conversely, when the same mind is engaged in negative suggestion, that can damage health. The negative effects are referred to as nocebo effect. D was treated for that cancer, but everyone in the medical community knew that his esophageal cancer would recur. So it was no surprise when D died a week after his diagnosis. The surprise came after D's death when an autopsy found very little cancer in his body. Certainly not enough to kill him. There were a couple of spots in the liver and one in the lung, but there was no trace of the esophageal cancer that everyone thought had killed him. Doctor told the Discovery Health Channel he died with cancer, but not from cancer. What did D die of it? Not esophageal cancer. Had he died because he believed he was going to die? The case still haunts Doctor 3 decades after D's death. I thought he had cancer. He thought he had cancer. Everybody around him thought he had cancer. Did I remove hope in some way? Troublesome nocebo cases suggest that physicians, parents, and teachers can remove hope by programming you to believe you are powerless. My point is that you can choose what to see. You can filter your life with rose-colored beliefs that will help your body grow. Or you can use a dark filter that turns everything black and makes your body mind more susceptible to disease. You can live a life of fear or live a life of love. You have the choice. Learning how to harness your mind to promote growth is the secret of life, which is why I call this book The Biology of Belief. Of course, the secret of life is not a secret at all. Teachers like Buddha and Muhammad and Jesus have been telling us the same story for millennia. Now science is pointing in the same direction. It's not our genes but our beliefs that control our life. Oh yes, our little belief. In fact, those rose-colored glasses are necessary for your cells to thrive. Positive thoughts are a biological mandate for a happy, healthy life. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny. Fear kills. The simple truth is, when you are frightened, you are dumber. Teachers see it all the time among students who don't test well. Exam stress paralyze these students who with trembling hands mark wrong answers because in their panic they can't access cerebrally stored information they have carefully acquired all semester. Almost every major illness that people acquire has been linked to chronic stress. If we control our fears, we can regain control over our life. President Franklin D. Roosevelt knew the destructive nature of fear. He chose his words carefully when he told the nation in the grip of the Great Depression and looming World War, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Letting go of our fears is the first step towards creating a fuller, more satisfying life. Personal change can be taught to anyone who is interested in taking charge of their lives by moving out of fear and into love.